not interested in that kind of interface with people, of trying to charm anyone or ingratiate themselves.
Did you go to Juilliard?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it easy for you to take on the role as Llewyn Davis for this movie because of that training you had?
Oh well, training definitely helps, but it, it was challenging. It's a challenging role because he's so internal, and he doesn't use warmth or charm to try to get the audience on his side or ask for sympathy. So you had to find other ways of doing that.
Great. You sing beautifully, by the way.
Thank you.
How familiar were you with the music of the era? What was your relationship to it before taking on the role? Did you immerse yourself in it afterwards? What did you learn from doing that?
Yeah, I grew up listening to Bob Dylan, but I didn't, and I heard a little bit of Woody Guthrie and some Pete Seeger, but I wasn't really aware of this the time right before Dylan, and I immediately got hooked when I started investigating and finding artists like Dalton and Lightnin Hopkins and Reverend Gary Davis and Phil Ochs and above all Dave Van Ronk, whose repertoire I just held on to like a lifeline.
Nice. What was it like working with the Coen Brothers?
They're the coolest people in the world, man. I always imagine them with berets, at like a beatnik coffee shop in the 50s. They're just so gentle and relaxed, and there's just not one drop of vanity on their sets.
Right.
They immediately neutralize anything like that. They don't give a lot of compliments, so don't go looking for that. But above everything else was getting their developing a friendship with them.
Nice.
They let me into their whole worldview, not just their movie.
Right. That's great.
How did you like working with a cat as a foil?
Well, there was like 5 cats. Yeah, there was a bunch there because you can't train cats really, so they have a few different ones with different personalities. And the one that had the more sedated personality was the one that I liked best.
Oh.
Okay.
I like the one that sat on your chest and was like,
yeah, that was the nice one.
How are you?
How are you? Good.
Good. What was the funniest story that the Coen Brothers told you while on the set?
They told a funny one of when they were doing the Hudsucker Proxy, and Paul Newman asked if he could do the scene without his pants on, and they're like, no. And they said, oh, okay, sure. He said Paul was like one of the best actors, but always had the worst ideas. Like, why would he not have his pants on?
How open are they to that kind of, I don't know if you want to do any scenes with your pants off, but and you actually had a couple, I think.
I do.
But yeah, but in terms, I'm saying in terms of improvisation, that kind of thing, how open are they to those kind of ideas on the set?
They will listen, and if you feel really strongly about something, then they'll let you do it. But that's how it works between the 3 of us. It was always whoever felt the strongest about any one thing would kind of win. So if I wanted to do something and Joel was just so adamant that that's not the right way to go, then I wouldn't. At the same time, if Joel thought something should be some way, and then Ethan suddenly was like, no, it definitely should be this way, and really made a push for it, then we go that way. So it was kind of a nice way to work, because someone would always relent.
When you're thinking of, how tough is that for you to write a song, first of all? Or is that natural for you?
Well, all the songs in the movie are all old folk songs, so none of them are new written songs at all.
But I mean, just for you to write a song.
For me personally, to write a song. It depends. Sometimes it happens suddenly, and suddenly you have a song, and it feels like I had little to do with it. It just kind of appears, and then sometimes I spend years writing a song.
Well, the reason I ask because you're I would say you're one of those few actors that's done a lot of things. You have a very eclectic filmology besides being on Broadway and stuff. There's not a lot when it comes down to that. That's why I ask those things. What do you prefer more, film or Broadway right now?
Oh, I've never been on Broadway.
I mean off.
Yeah, I've been off Broadway in theater and stuff, but I like doing both. I'm interested. I've got some good roles coming up in some movies, so I'm interested with that right now. But I've been definitely wanting to get back on stage too.
Yeah, what do you have coming up?
I've got a few movies coming out next year. I've got one called Two Faces of January, which is a Patricia Highsmith adaptation with Viggo Mortensen and Kirsten Dunst, and a movie called Ex Machina, which that's with Donald Gleason and Alicia Vikander, and that's Alex Garland, who wrote Sunshine and The Beach, and he's just an amazing sci-fi writer. It's his directorial debut, and it's a really, really cool movie. And then in January I'm starting up on J.C. Chandler's new movie.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's interesting. What I had a thought and it just completely left my head. So I'm gonna pass and I'll get back to that.
You've talked about this being an ideal role, a dream role.
Yeah.
Is there any trepidation in terms of going further in your career with that, having that kind of role?
Already behind me?
Yeah.
All downhill from here.
Well, not downhill.
No, not trepidation. It'll be hard. It'll be hard to ever top this again, just because not only the role, but the Coens, and just their sensibility. I feel so akin to, but that's just the nature of it. You know, you move on to the next family. It's the circus of movie making.
How tough was it for you to get this role? How many times did you have to go in?
Twice. So I went in for the casting director, and then she sent the tape off to Joel and Ethan, and they brought me in. And then I had to wait a month, and they called me and gave me the role.
So it wasn't too bad of the time span, actually. Then.
No, it was that month was the longest month of my life when I was waiting to find out. But no, you know, sometimes those things go on longer. Yeah.
That was so. Now I remember because he kind of made me remember what I was going to say.
Sure.
When you read a script like this and you see what's involved in it and what the character is and who the people are behind it, does it leap out to you that this is potentially something that could change your career in a lot of ways, or take it to a different level?
No, I don't. It doesn't go there first. You know, I obviously that's there. You know, you're a lead in the Coen Brothers. You know, but it's still such an abstract thought, and there's very little control over what that is. I mean, I could also always be like the first guy to really screw up a Coen Brothers movie. You know, so that exists too. So no, it just is about, okay, how do I play this guy, and how do I make this thing work, and the result of it can't come into it, because then that'll paralyze.
That's interesting. Let me ask you. I have on the site section called Matters That Matter. What's a favorite charity of yours, if you have one, and why?
Favorite charity? Well, I don't know if I have a favorite charity. My sister is a climate scientist in Miami, and she's working with the Army Corps of Engineers down there often. I mean, Miami's screwed because of sea level rise. I mean, within the next 20 or 50 years, it's like catastrophic flooding. I mean, it's already happening a lot down on South Beach. Every October, I believe, that the high tide comes in and they're just flooded. And really, the flooding is happening in the middle of the state too, because it's all limestone. So the aquifers are just getting filled with seawater. So she's doing a lot of work down there, and I'm incredibly supportive of her and helping out, because that's where I'm from as well.
Interesting. Most people only say 10 years, believe it or not.
Yeah.
It's that bad.
Yeah, well, that's the Army Corps of Engineers, and they're the most conservative when they come to their projections, and even they're saying they're screwed.
Yeah.
So it's bad down there.
Thank you.
Thanks.
What would you hope people could take away from this film? What kind of message?
Well, I don't think there's much of a message necessarily, because that's they don't go in for like the morality stuff so much, but I think it's just the story of an artist wanting to both succeed and fail, and trying to find his authentic voice, and the fact that success and failure is on a knife's edge, and it could just as easily go one way as the other, and maybe sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.